Hey and welcome back to the third and last part of my Worldpackers series. In my previous videos I showed you how to create a great profile and what you should think of before applying to a host. Today is all gonna be about how you best apply for a position and in the end, write a constructive and honest review about your experience. Check out the first link in the description for a $10 discount on your Worldpackers plan and let's get into it. When you have found a place you would like to volunteer at, click on the Apply Now button. First, you have to choose the dates when you want to arrive and when you will leave. Let's say we want to go there from the 22nd of November until the 22nd of December. You can tell the host if your dates are flexible, but to be honest, I usually say that mine are not. Next, the real application starts. Now you have to present yourself and convince the host that you're a good fit for their position. The amount of questions and the questions in general can vary, but for starters, you normally have to introduce yourself. I like to just tell them my name, age, and where I'm from. After all those months I have spent volunteering and the amount of reviews I have received from hosts, I now just give them a hint to my introduction video and say that they can check it out on my profile. But if you're only starting out, I highly recommend you to answer the questions as detailed as possible. So in this case, explain as well why you want to call up with the host and what you hope to learn during your time there. Answer the questions honestly and don't make anything up about yourself only because it would benefit you for that specific position. For example, don't say you do have experience with kids when in reality you don't. If that were the case, I would just say, to be totally honest with you, I don't really have experience in that field, but I'd love to help wherever I can and spend time with the kids, entertaining them and doing fun stuff, or whatever applies to you. Let's look at some other questions you might need to answer for an application. The "Do you have any questions?" question is a great opportunity to ask about the weekly schedule or a usual day as a volunteer. Don't hesitate to ask about anything that might be unclear or you'd just like to know beforehand. Of course, you can still always contact the host if any question pops up later. A few places ask about your working allowance and visa situation. Here, again, if it's one of your first times volunteering, just tell the truth and say that you would like to learn the skills the host is asking for. As with any job application, it's important to present yourself in the best light and show that you're really interested in the position. There's not really any more to an application on Worldpackers. It's pretty simple. I would suggest applying to at least 5 different places at a time, as some of them might not get back to you or find someone else. If that's the case, don't be discouraged. You will eventually get approved by someone. And as you will collect more and more reviews on your profile over time, it will be easier getting selected by a host. You might even receive invitations from people who have seen your profile and would like to host you. The second part of the video is what comes after having lived the experience, the review. As I already said in the beginning, please be very honest. You have to keep in mind that with your review and many others, future volunteers will decide if they want to work for that host or rather not. It's not a personal rating for the manager of the hostel, for example. What you review is the place and your experience in general. That is really important to keep in mind. So if you got along really well with your host, but the working tasks were not as agreed on before, or the facilities and living space you had were not as you expected, please include that in your review. I'm asking you to be very honest as a fellow volunteer because it's not only about the people, but you will spend a great amount of time working and also living there, and believe me, if you don't feel comfortable, your whole stay is ruined and you won't have a nice experience. Reviews can be a warning not to apply to a place and spare yourself an unpleasant experience. When your experience ends, you have 2 weeks to write one, and so does your host. If you write a review right away and the host doesn't, he will not be able to see your feedback until he writes you a review too, or the 2 weeks have passed. After that, he can't write a review anymore. The same applies the other way. If some days have passed and you still haven't received feedback from your host, I would contact them and say that you already took the time to write a review and ask them if they can do so as well. I've had to do that several times, even reach out to them twice, but as reviews are very important, especially for the volunteers, there's no shame in being persistent and claiming some feedback concerning your stay. Well, that's all. Congratulations for completing my Worldpackers series. If you have any questions left, feel free to ask them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now nothing's stopping you from starting your volunteering journey. Don't forget to use my Worldpackers link for a $10 discount on your yearly plan. Thanks for watching and safe travels!